Hey, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, then hi, my name is Erica, and today I'm going to be talking about the YouTuber we all know, and yet none of us really know. And who is that YouTuber, you might ask? I'm really bad at asking rhetorical questions, by the way, but his name is Charles Peralo, I think that's how you pronounce it. And he is the guy who you always see on your For You page. He mostly does shorts, and he basically does videos about celebrity gossip, which is like no shade to that. Do what you want to do as long as you're not causing harm, which is always my big caveat. Do what you want as long as you're not causing harm. And now his videos seem innocuous enough. Like, he's not making any really harmful videos, but if you go on his channel and you go on his community tab, he's much more controversial. Now I will show I'll show different screenshots of things he's put, but I'm also going to describe it for those who may be blind or low vision, or just if you're listening and not watching or whatever, just to make it easier for everybody. But he posts a lot of things that can be perceived as bigoted, like transphobic, homophobic, racist, fatphobic. And now I did a little digging in his past, and he is a conservative person, and he used to work for a political party. So, like, his true colors are showing through. And I think that happens no matter what. Like, a YouTuber may try to be different so they could be more palatable to the masses, but ultimately your true colors will shine. See your true color. Don't sing, Erica. But anyway, so some of the things he posts are like polls. Like, do you respect a non-binary person's identity? If you do not respect somebody's identity, you are a shitty person. Like, he is almost empowering the people who do not support or respect somebody's identity. And the reason why I say that is because okay, so the first screenshot up on the screen says, "I'm not calling the Colorado shooter they them," and on my channel we've talked about why being bigoted even against bad people is still bigotry, and it still harms the entire marginalized community that person is from. So I think that should go without saying why I find that problematic. I was perusing Reddit, which is always a big mistake. But anyway, there is I believe they're called subreddits. I'm still not Reddit literate yet, but there's a subreddit or whatever called, like, "Are the cis okay?" And they posted about his poll and why it's so harmful. And one of the reasons it's so harmful, and now I am a cisgender woman, so I do not want to speak over people that are trans or non-binary, but people said in the thread, which I can definitely see their perspective, is there are so many people on this thread that are bigots and will be like, oh yeah, all these people are snowflakes. Now, back in my day, we only had 2 genders, which, by the way, is completely false. There's a whole history of Two-Spirit people in different Native American communities. There's just a whole history of there being more than 2 genders, not to mention intersex people exist. But anyway, that's none of my business, says Kermit the Frog. But my point is that he thinks he's doing a poll for engagement, or at least I kind of hope that that's what he thinks he's doing. But what he is doing is he's giving these bigots a platform, a place to share their harmful beliefs and their hatred towards other people. And the reason I'm making this video is, well, number one, I am what the conservatives would call a social justice warrior and SJW. But more so than that is recently I saw him post on his community tab about there's this demographic survey for YouTube creators, and they ask you questions about like your racial identity and your ethnicity and your gender and all that. But to my dismay, they do not ask about disability. So I really hate that survey because and next up it says just filled out a form YouTube asked creators to fill out regarding diversity. Asked my sexuality, I'm straight. Asked my gender, I'm a dude. Asked my race, I'm white. The final question was asking if I'd want to attend events if my answers applied. I said yes, but I know 1,000% I'm not getting an invite or anything. I'm happy YouTube is trying to reach out to creators who are from different groups, but where's the events for people who work hard? Since February, I've treated YouTube as my career, making shorts that have gotten over 450 million views, been writing and doing polls where I reach 100 million interactions a month on the community page. 1 second, there's another screenshot because it was too long for one. I've seen numerous events from YouTube in New York City, which as a straight white guy, I don't get an invitation for, which, hey, I'm 100% happy with LGBT night, women's night, and different racial groups being represented, but that's kind of it. I've never seen an event marketed called, hey, you've had 100 million views, come to our New York City office and eat pizza with other creators. I also have seen so many diversity surveys, but never get anything asking me how the software, customer service, payment side, and more can be improved on YouTube. I love YouTube and love that they reach out to women, LGBT people, and minorities, but please don't forget others are working hours on this and might deserve an invite also. Nobody said you're not working hard, Charles, although I would argue what he does not take a lot of work. That's an issue for another video, but it seems like he is mad that marginalized people get their own events. I feel like they erase disabled people as typical. And also, they also, I don't believe they asked about my sexuality, like if you're gay or bi or straight. Like, they didn't ask that, which is also, it's a really big problem. So they're erasing two really big factors in someone's identity. But Charles Peralo, was he mad about that? Was he mad that disabled people and gay people and bi people don't have a voice in that survey? No, he was mad because he thinks, as a white, cisgender, straight man, that he's not getting as many opportunities as people from marginalized backgrounds. Let that sink in for a little bit. I guess, and I don't know this, this is the first I've ever heard of this, but I guess there's like these parties or these events for creators, like maybe an event for like black creators, or an event for trans creators. Now, this is the first I'm hearing of this. I've never heard of this before his community post. But he's mad that he doesn't get invited to any events because he is a straight, white, cisgender man. Charles, welcome to my world of never getting invited to things. Because guess what? The world is made for people like you. So cry me a river. I don't give a flying fuck that you are not invited to YouTube creator events, because marginalized people deal with that every day. Of being reminded that the world is not built for us, that we have to check a box that says other, that we're different. We are marked different either from birth or if it's an identity we acquire later in life, then we are marked then. But we are marked as different and treated as different and excluded from everything, and we have to work 10 times harder just to get our foot in the door. I was not expecting to get this heated in this video, but I did. But anyway, I wanted to say this because I've also seen community posts by him where he talks about how he doesn't understand why in every movie there needs to be gay characters, or why it's so bad to have an all-white cast. Up next, this is a snippet from a community post he made, and I'm not gonna read the snippet that I didn't screenshot because like it wasn't really relevant, and it's not in the screenshot, but the part I screenshotted said, just to make it clear, I'm not a very PC guy. I'm fine if a white guy voices a black character. I don't think every show/movie needs a gay character. I think a straight actor can play a gay character. I don't think castings always need to be racially accurate. I'm fine if a show/movie has an all-white cast. Okay, well, this is coming from a white straight guy. The media really influences how we think. Think about it. Especially if you live in a neighborhood that's not very diverse, if it's very white, or if there's a lot of straight people or a lot of able-bodied people, like movies and TV shows can be your first little venture into realizing that not everybody is like you. but also for marginalized people, it can be very validating to see somebody like them on screen portrayed in a good way, in an accurate and multi-dimensional fashion. I'm very passionate about the media because it is the industry I'm going into. If you don't know, I am a screenwriter. I would like to become a screenwriter whose stuff is actually produced, and not just a screenwriter whose screenplays are on my laptop. And I am also a disabled woman, and there aren't a lot of there's not a lot of disability representation in the entertainment industry. I know because right now I work behind the scenes and I do some consultations to help them create multi-dimensional disabled characters. So, Charles, you may not need to see people who look like you on screen, but then you cry when you're not invited to an event because you're a cisgender, straight, white man. You can't have it both ways. You can't be like, oh, well, there's nothing for me here, but why does everybody else need to feel seen, to feel included? You can't have it both ways, Charles. I feel like he has no idea what marginalized people go through. And this is even coming from a cisgender white woman. I am very privileged compared to some people, but I can see why people want to feel seen, why they need safe spaces and they need spaces to be themselves, to get away from people like the people that question our existence, or they want to use us for a little poll to help with the algorithm, to be like, oh, do you respect these people or not? Fuck you. You know what? Fuck you. If you don't respect non-binary people, if there's any marginalized group you don't respect, fuck you. I said it. Someone had to say it to Charles. I refuse to watch his shorts now, even if it's about something I want to hear about, because number one, he doesn't have any information that no other YouTubers have. And number two, he doesn't present it in an interesting way. He's just kind of like, oh, did you see that Olivia Wilde and Harry Styles broke up? Okay, thanks for telling me. I could have found that out on TMZ. I get really pissed when it's a YouTuber who's a wolf in sheep's clothing. And I'm not saying he's the worst person. He's not Shane Dawson level or James Charles level, but he's still not a great guy. You don't need to be the worst. Just because you're not the worst person does not mean you're a person that doesn't deserve to be called out. And with that, that is the end of this video. I know I got very heated. I was not expecting to. But yeah, if you learned something or if for some reason you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you have not already and you would like to see more of my content, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye.